I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, May the 4th, brought to you in part by the new Nasalgen. Bovolus Nasalgen 3 PMH is a one-of-a-kind respiratory vaccine that provides unmatched protection to young calves, much like what many of you have running around in your pastures right now. Also leaves a unique blue shadow so you can tell which ones have been treated. For more information, go to unmatchedprotection.com. Risk management pressure. I always talk about that, and most of you are aware that as an industry, we put a lot of pressure on your futures market, on cattle futures for hedging. In recent years, some of these USDA livestock policies have gotten popular, your LRPs, your gross margin policies and the like, and a lot of people are going in that method, and we think, well, that's taking some pressure off your board there, but likely, as I was talking with a friend of mine, a contact who I trust understands more than I do about the industry, says probably with the recognition that these LRPs and some of these livestock policies are getting, and they've been around a lot longer than they've been popular, but people are just now realizing how good of a deal they are, and they're kind of a no-brainer. And then you've got the government coming in and supplementing quite a bit of that cost, and probably there are more people that are hedged up running cattle than there probably ever has been. Now, I would still say 85% or maybe 90% of the cattle that are in the feedlot are hedged. There's basically no lenders that will let you have the money to feed cattle unless you have risk management, and there's not that many people that have the money that don't do risk management themselves, because they sure don't want to stand the hickey. But a lot more of these cattle that are being turned out, these stocker cattle, are being hedged up now. And so that's you think, well, they're not used in the futures market. Well, the insurance companies are. And so they've got to lay that risk off somewhere, and they're laying it off on the board. And since there's probably more people hedged up one way or the other, it's still causing a lot of pressure on the board. And like I've said many times, there's just nobody to take the long side. Interest is up now. You can get CDs for about 5% if you put them on there for a while. Those are the safest you can get. A lot of these securities are really safe. They've got good returns on them. And so it's just not as popular as maybe it's been the last several years, when interest was really cheap and the return on invested money was not very good at all. But your fund management companies aren't using the board on the long side so much right now. And so you think, well, who else is betting on it to go down? You wouldn't think anybody would just be speculating on it going down, because the fundamentals are so strong. So that just leaves all that risk management pressure on the board, pushing it down. It's really hit hard this week, and it's taken our cash market down. And it's just too bad that some of the safeguards that we have in the industry to help offset some risk is really what's causing our markets not to fully appreciate what they could probably do. And it's kind of like my father didn't die of cancer. He died of cancer treatment. And I know you guys know a lot of people that have done that too, and that's kind of where the market is right now. And market's still really good, but it's just a shame to see it lose its trajectory whenever we had such a bright outlook going, and then people just kind of lost confidence, and our fat cattle sellers lost their momentum. And now here we are, just kind of languishing right here near some highs. I don't know how we're going to get the momentum back. We're likely not going to. If we could just get a steady market once in the fat cattle, I think that would be a victory. We're not losing that much. Southern Plains losing about $1 in their fat cattle trade, and the Northern Plains maybe mostly $2. But you know, it's not terrible and everything, but we just hate to lose it for the third week in a row now. But look at your board on Wednesday. June live cattle futures down $1.25 at 160-165, and that huge basis there is just your hedged feeders that are selling negotiated. They cannot resist it because it's making their cattle, if you tack that that basis on, it's making their cattle bring way more than they ever could have hoped to get gotten here this week. August live cattle down $1.40 at 159.55. Still got cattle bringing 180 in spots, and they're trading you know, $20 less than that for August. Back months down 60 to down $1.30. May feeder cattle down 252. Of course, your cash feeders are down too, so it's still trading at a premium to what your index levels are. August feeders down 265 at 223.52, and I bet you guys wished you'd locked them in around that 230 if you haven't done it, if you got yearlings coming off grass late this summer or early this fall. Back months on feeder cattle down $1.80 to down 252. May corn, your grains have rebounded. Of course, there's a lot more play in your grain futures. You've got grain merchandisers moving it, you've got users using it, and it's just more of an honest futures market. Your cattle futures are so shallow, they just get pushed around pretty easy, but you know, your grains popped right back. May corn up 7 1/4 cents, 6.45 1/4. December new crop corn up 10 3/4, 5.30 1/2. May soybeans up 8 1/2 at 14.48. November new crop beans up 5 cents at 12.72 1/4 cents a bushel. Fat cattle trade kind of continued, but we've seen the bulk of the trade already, you know, and we're just through halfway through the week. But Iowa sold another 3,100 head confirmed on Wednesday, 14,700 head for the week. I think they've just about got Iowa cleaned up of all the fat cattle, and the market's going down. But live sales in Iowa range from 174 to 178. Dress sales from 278 to 281. Nebraska, 5,200 head confirmed on Wednesday, 14,400 head for the week. 175 to 178 live, and 278 to 281 on a dress basis. Kansas, 1,100 head, already 12,800 head in Kansas. And you've got some northern plants dipping down into some of those better finished cattle in Kansas. Your live price spread was 171, which is not heavily a price that was paid, but all the way up to 176 when the market's 172. Well, that's on some of those better cattle to those regionals. And also had some dress trade in there at 281, which is pretty handsome compared to that live price. Texas, 1,800 head confirmed on Wednesday, 12,100 head sold negotiated in Texas this week through the first half of the week. That is almost 3 times what they sold last week, guys. The biggest movement we've had in Texas in forever. Live sales 171 to 172, and even had some 281 quoted on some dress sales in Texas. You can bring that back to what those cattle will dress. That's $5 better than any of those live prices that are quoted there, guys. But you know, those packers are picking around. They're looking for some of the better grading cattle, and now they got the market beat back. They can go about anywhere, buy them, and pay the freight to get them where they want them to go. Fat cattle auction, Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota. It was $7 to $12 lower. The prices paid for conventional cattle in Sioux Falls, 173 to 180, with some program cattle from 174 to 183.75. Box beef cutout values were cheaper. Choice cuts down just 15 cents at 309.09, and selects down 154 at 287.12, stretching that choice select spread to $22 now. Slaughters 376,000 through the first 3 days of the week. That's 2,000 more than this point last week, and 11,000 more than this point the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Livestock Risk Services they're one of those LRP specialists, and doing a good job, and getting a lot of guys calling in from all over the country. They're calling into Dakota Moss at the Oklahoma National Stockyards Exchange building, or one of his agents scattered all around in every direction from there. But they know what to do, and they can answer all your questions at Livestock Risk Services. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV Auction, based on that 800-pound steer from 700 to 899 pounds. Cash steer up through your middle 12 states. The weighted average on that is 201.64. That's down $2.14 from just late Tuesday there. So you know, losing ground pretty fast whenever your board collapses and they start puking the fat cattle. That's what happens with your feeders. Can't hold them up there forever. Want you guys to continue to support the Punchy Pick of the Month contest. We've had several winners, and everyone that's won has said they were really tickled when they got their prize package, including a whole case of Farapeace, the revolutionary product that you put on the cattle's pole and muzzle there to calm them down. And we're getting a lot of people saying that stuff really works good. Get some really cool stuff from Beaver Feed and our friends at Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma. Talk about your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, DV Auction broadcaster there, 6,900 head. Most of them were on the Wednesday feeder cattle sale. And you see that your feeder steers were $2 to $4 lower. Feeder heifers were steady to $3 lower. Stalker types were better, from $2 to $3 better for a true stalker there, kind of a calf weight yearling. Still looking for those. And lightweight calves sold $6 to $8 higher. El Reno was our national beef wire stick out sale of the day. Don't look at the calf weights. This is just the Wednesday feeder sale, not included in the Tuesday calf sale. But look at your best tested weights of feeders there. 675 head of 7-weight steers in El Reno, average 747. Weighted average price $210.29. 830 head of 8-weight steers averaged $852 with an average price of $191.84. 1,053 head of 9-weight steers in El Reno, average $940. Weighted average price on those $182.43. A lot of heifers, 411 head of 6-weight heifers, average $668. Average price $196.66. 752 head of 7-weight heifers at OKC West, average $755 with a weighted average price of $186.87. And 708 head of 8-weight heifers averaged 845 pounds with a weighted average price on all those of $177.83. Look at winter livestock in Dodge City, Kansas, 2,200 head there. Feeder steers were actually steady to $2 higher, with stalker steers $6 to $8 higher. Feeder heifers were lower, $2 to $4, but the stalker heifers were also $6 to $8 higher. Big demand for stalker type cattle. Lightweight calves $10 to $12 higher. You know, that's still really dry in that part of the country, but anybody that's got some grazing there can't stand not to have anything turned out on it. Give you several individual quotes. How about one we don't talk about very often, but they're DV Auction broadcaster. They're friends of ours in Northeast Georgia Livestock in Athens, Georgia. They had their board sale on Wednesday. They had a load of 600-pound steers bring 251, and their heifer mates weighed 535 at 232. I'd say that'd be pretty darn good sitting way out east in Northeast Georgia. How about Huss, Platte Valley Livestock Market there in Kearney, Nebraska? They sell 54 steers, 60 days weaned, all the shots. 512-pound steers bring $275.50. Emporia Livestock Sales. They had a big price on some big steers. 100 head of 928-pound steers bring $190 there. And the best quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday in your Macrocin, no BS. Top quote for the day coming from a DV Auction broadcaster there. Green City Livestock Marketing in Green City, Missouri. 66 steers weighed 815 pounds at $209.60. You thought those days were gone. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.